Mike. How long has it been since you've been here?
It must be about 2 years, I think.
Is it that long?
It's been quite a long time. I've missed not coming here.
Well, no one's stopping you.
Well, life is busy.
Well, but whenever you need a little oasis of calm and tranquility.
Well, it certainly feels like this today, so that's very nice.
It's a Friday afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to visit us. So you are an amazing person. I think we got on the first time we met.
We certainly do. Yeah, thank you very much. You make me blush.
I'm blushing too, but you can't tell. Color graded later. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Mike Ferenczi. I'm the Director of Academic Affairs for Brunel Medical School. I'm a professor of medical sciences in the university. I'm also the academic lead for admissions and for the medical school. So I think this is the context that we want to talk about, I think, because I know there's so many people very curious about how to get into medicine.
Very much so. Before we go on to that, can I take you all the way back to when you were about 17 years old?
Okay.
So tell me about. Well, that's the audience that we're kind of talking to.
So
what was Mike like?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you something which you may find very disappointing. Is that I'm not a doctor.
Dum, dum, dum. No, you're not. You're a professor.
No, I'm a scientist. My background is science. When I was 17, I wanted to change the world by making great discoveries that would help people.
All right.
And so that was my ambition, really. And I did most of my career was doing research, studying muscles and studying the heart, and adding my little bit of knowledge to the big world of scientific knowledge.
So you're a professor of hearts.
I was. I had various titles, but physiological sciences was one of my titles. So
my goodness!
And if I describe my science, I would say cardiac biophysics as being the way I would describe it. But then
also, just to break that word down, so cardiac means heart.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then
biophysics. So it's a physics applied to biology, because really we are machines, so we can use physical principles to understand how our machine works. So things like blood pressure, how the eyes work. This is basic science, basic physics,
But it's incredibly difficult, isn't it? Like if you think about the heart and the mechanics that go into that every beat, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is absolutely mind-blowing. It's of course the blood flow, the pumping of the muscle, and of course the electrical signals, which are incredibly complex, how they travel through the heart, and how the brain and the central nervous system controls the heart, and yet sometimes things go wrong.
I mean, it just functions without you even
thinking about. And if you think about it, can you think of a machine that can work at 60 beats per minute for 80 years or more?
Doesn't need any oil or maintenance or MOT.
You don't change parts. It keeps going and going and going. And not only that, it adapts to the needs. If you're running, if you're sleeping, if you're anxious, it will change and then go back. It's extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary.
Can I ask you one question before we move on in your career? Is that where love is based? The heart?
Well,
is it through
I
the
think
brain?
For that, your answer is certainly as good as my answer.
Because this is, sorry, I can't see it.
No. This is what you're doing.
This is what we think. Yeah, that little heart.
That's the heart.
So we'll do some heart emojis there.
This represents this heart. And in antiquity, there was a time when people associated the heart with love.
Because of the pain you feel.
Because the pain you feel, but it goes, it goes back to Eros, piercing the heart with an arrow when somebody falls in love. So it goes back, thousands of years, a time when people did not understand how the body worked. So people realized that the heart was an essential organ. Without it, you die.
Yeah.
And so the connection between love and life goes back to antiquity, when they realized that the heart was at the center of our life. And therefore, but I think in more recent years, people have really realized that love is more likely to be something to do with the brain.
Yeah. Well, the jury's out. The jury's out. But actually, just really quickly, there's a lot of innovation going around cardiology and cardio.
Oh, but that's in every field. It's the space at which progress is made is extraordinary, and it feels like it's accelerating all the time. And now there's big data, where we are starting to collect information from millions of people, and we put all this through a computer system, and the computer will detect trends and changes, and then we can use this data to say, you fit in that category, therefore the treatment that you need is that one. And that is transforming healthcare. And of course, in a medical school, we want to prepare students for medicine of tomorrow, not for medicine of yesterday. So we are very mindful of the changes, and we want to make sure that our students are ready for the changes, and ready for the new medicine that's needed in 10, 20 years' time.
I think Brunel is a relatively new medical school, isn't it? And actually, it's embraced innovation and technology. We can touch on that in a moment.
Sure.
So you did all that, and then what happened? Because you ended up in Singapore, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. So I started doing research. I spent many decades doing research. I loved it. Then I became professor at Imperial College.
Oh, excellent.
And then after about 12 years at Imperial College as a professor doing my research, somebody came along and said, Imperial College is getting together with the Singapore government to set up a new medical school in Singapore.
Okay.
Anybody interested? So I put my hand up. I said, I'm interested, because I felt that'd be nice to do something a little bit different. Having done research for so many years, it felt it'd be interesting. And my children at that time were just at an age where they were moving from primary school to secondary school. Right. So I felt it was, they're twins, so they were same year. So it was a good time for them to move. So we moved to Singapore, and I, after 13 years at Imperial, I moved to Singapore, where I stayed 8 years, all through the secondary school for my children.
Oh, nice.
And set up a medical school from scratch.
Wow.
And was able to see 3 cohorts of students successfully graduating. And then there was the opportunity to repeat the whole experience at Brunel. So that's what I came back to the UK in 2020 to start setting up Brunel Medical School, which opened in 2022.
I think that's such an interesting story, isn't it? Because actually, you get to start with a blank slate.
Exactly.
And actually, I think people who don't come from a medical background actually have a lot of value to add. They've got a fresh pair of eyes. They look at problems differently.
Yeah, I think that's true. One thing which I didn't say is that I was brought up mainly in Belgium, in the French language. And French education also makes you think in a different way compared to UK schools. There's much more attention to the way you construct arguments, the way you write, and so on. And I think it's brilliant to mix cultures, because as you just said, people come with different pairs of eyes, different ways of looking at things, and in the medical school, in Brunel Medical School, we are very keen on diversity because we see the benefits. I mean, I'll give you an example. We have, for the first 2 cohorts, were only international students coming from more than 50 different countries. 100 students coming from about 50 different countries.
My goodness.
You couldn't have a more diverse medical school than that. And to see all these students interacting with each other, they all speak English. You have to speak English, that's a requirement. But that being said, they all have a completely different view about what medicine is all about, what medicine should be, their role as future doctors, and they're sharing that with each other. And it's the enrichment that brings is really fantastic.
I think that's one of the massive standout things about Brunel actually is and that international element still exists, doesn't it?
Oh, so very much.
I know you.
Yeah, and even yes, so you're right. Now we have UK students as well. A third of our intake is UK students, but among the UK students, it's very diverse as well. And that is more by chance, but it also means that the applicants for very different backgrounds in the UK all are competitive and can all get in, and it doesn't matter what your background is. Everybody has a good chance of getting in.
I think you got 3 elements of learning. So you got the professors and stuff, and you got some world-class sort of lecturers,
academics.
But the 2 things about Brunel which I think stand out are there's things that you learn from the other students, and I think you'd be really far pushed anywhere in the world to get that collection of international experience. And then the second thing is the learning environment where you kind of have different teaching models.
So that's interesting because our pedagogy is based on what we call team-based learning. Where the students are divided into groups of 6, and the teams of 6 stay together for the whole academic year, but they're constructed to encourage diversity. And in team-based learning, the students work together and learn from each other. So it's not like you go into a lecture theater and you're on your own for the whole year. You have to interact with the 5 other members of your team on a daily basis. And that makes a very different medical school. And we're very proud of that approach.
I mean, that was unheard of. If you look back at paintings or arts of medical schools in the olden days, or when I was at university, it was one professor and all the students. And then occasionally they'd throw the chalkboard at you if you weren't paying attention.
Never at you.
No, I was too far back. So then normally get somewhere in the middle. So it took me until the end of the year to work out that if you sit in the front row, you're not going to get picked on. I mean, I need to learn a bit faster.
You might even learn more if you're at the front row, right?
I can't because I'm terrified.
I see. Okay.
Right. So admissions. This is something that we get asked all the time. So we've got a work experience program. We go out exactly to the people that who find it more difficult to get work experience. It's what can people do to maximize their chances of
so first of all,
into a medical school?
I would say nowadays in Brunel Medical School, and in fact, from what I hear, many other medical schools, there is less emphasis on personal statements.
Really?
Because personal statements nowadays are written with ChatGPT.
Yes.
And it's very difficult.
Oh, have the universities found out?
The universities...
Because a lot of the students we speak to think you don't know. You haven't heard of ChatGPT.
We know very well.
No. All right. Someone told them.
No. So there's not much emphasis, but I think the work experience is what you gain from it internally. It's not what you can write. It doesn't really matter that you shadowed your uncle doing a heart replacement surgery, or that, that doesn't really count. But if you've actually cared after old people, cared after children, spent some time in a clinical environment, or even not clinical, but with children, for example, showing compassion, showing that resilience in coping with this sometimes difficult situation, that will enrich. You'll be enriched by the when you are come to interview. Your answers will be so much more wiser, more reasoned, and you will shine through in the interview because of your lived experiences.
Oh, I see. So let me just try to work, because I mean, it may come as a surprise to me. It's been quite a long time since I went for an interview to medicine. I'll tell you my story in a moment, actually. I'll tell you now. I had a D and 2 E's predicted for my A levels, and then I thought, all my teachers said, don't bother with medicine. My brother was studying medicine, and so I tried to, to make my mum happy. And I thought about apply as well. And even though I had zero chance against, I had no offers. And then I got in through, I got an A and 2 Bs and got in through clearing. And I was brought up in the tough part of Birmingham.
And so you resat your A levels?
No, I got in through clearing.
Oh, okay, because you got better than predicted.
So what used to happen?
Actually, so you worked really hard.
Yeah, but I just worked out, like, in the olden days, you just get all the past papers
and cram.
Then you just you can't get away with that nowadays. And then you learn and actually I remember I did all the past papers and we didn't have anywhere really at home to study. So I used to go to the library. And then I gave them to the teacher. I said, please, sir, could you mark this? And they said, you must be joking. I'm not wasting my time marking. And I said, well, could you give me the answers at least? And they said, no. So I didn't get a whole heap of support around me. And the point is that, in the old days, you could just cram and get through exams, and that's fine. Then I remember really clearly, actually, one of the clearest memories in ever is that on Thursday, I got my A-level results, so A and 2 Bs, and then I called King's and stuff, and then they said, okay, we've got some places through clearing, which clearing is where people are given offers, but the people they've offered it to don't achieve those results, and then as a result they got additional spaces which they can give to other people. So I had an A and 2 Bs. King said I'd come for an interview on Friday, and then I remember borrowing my brother's jacket, and I put hair gel on as well. I used to have slightly better hair, and I remember it dripping onto his jacket. I think, oh my God, it's going to kill me. But also, they're going to see hair gel on my jacket. Anyway, so I was not prepared. Went to this interview, I caught a code, and I kind of basically muddled through and got a place, and loved it. And it just makes you think that actually, on lots of grounds, there are lots of reasons why a medical school would have said, somebody like you would say, no, you're not a good fit. But actually, I think I love medical school. It was amazing. I've definitely contributed. I've done my bit.
Absolutely.
Medicine.
Yeah, fantastic.
I just want to do stuff. Yeah. So I think sometimes the system isn't necessarily, that was accidental, I think. I'm not sure there are any places in clearing anymore, are there?
No, there are a few medical schools do have clearing places for medicine.
Really?
Yeah, still
not many of them.
Not many, because of the competition is very high. But it happens every year that there will be some with clearing places.
So when you apply for medicine now, you've got to do an examination, don't you? And you have to reach a certain score. Is that right?
So you need to do your A levels or international baccalaureate and meet the requirements. And then you also have to take UCAT, which is the university's clinical aptitude test. In the year, you have to do that. You have to apply quite a long time in advance, in the year before you apply to medical school.
Okay.
And then we use that in the medical school.
Sorry, Mike. Is that for all medical schools or some?
I think all medical school nowadays ask for UCAT. Yes, there used to be another test, another one called BMAT, but that's used less and less, if at all, anymore in the UK. So it's UCAT for everybody.
And are places limited for that? Are they
for UCAT? No. They will. Everybody can sit the UCAT. Many people sit the UCAT abroad. It's worldwide. If you are abroad or even here, you have to go to a test center to take the exam.
Before we move on, have you got any top tips for passing the UCAT or getting a good mark in the UCAT?
I think it's. I think that I would say have a really good read of the UCAT website and a really good read of the Medical Schools Council website, because they provide background information and test examples.
All right, with the answers.
With the answers, yes. Or model answers, yes. So I think it's definitely worth looking at those websites.
Okay. So I've done my UCAT. And what sort of mark do I need to get?
Well, it's very different. Every medical school uses UCAT in a different way. So what we do is that we rank all our applicants with the expected grades according to their UCAT score.
So it's not an absolute number.
So, and we have 800 interview slots in the year. It's a lot of interviews, and they're spread out in weeks throughout the year. And a couple of weeks before each interview week, we look at who's on our list, and we invite the top 180 to interview, because we've got 180 slots per week, and the threshold for getting an invitation will vary from week to week, and it's highest in the beginning of the year and gets somewhat lower towards April, for example.
So at this stage, work experience and personal statements don't matter.
Well, as I said, you need to fill in the personal statement. UCAT. UCAT insists
a minimum first.
You have to do UCAS. You have to fill in personal statement and for UCAS. That's according to the UCAS regulation. We make sure you filled it in, but we don't give much attention to what you
really
say.
Helpful, isn't it? Because
it doesn't really matter too much what you say in it, because you will be invited to interview depending on your UCAT score.
Because so many people, when we hold these work experiences,
get very worried about.
They go. They're absolutely fixated on
personal statement. But the schools still are as well. Some medical schools still put emphasis, but most medical schools have realized that artificial intelligence
and it's written by written by probably parents and then teachers and then
and you can't even
around the ChatGPT
and you can't really check whether what is said is true.
No,
that's a real problem. Some people will make up stories that we have no way of telling. So how do you differentiate, when you can't necessarily trust what's written? It's very difficult.
And the personal statements just refer to work experience, don't they?
Well, the emphasis has been in the past that your personal statement should show that in your private life, you have gone into activities that demonstrate your interest in medicine.
Right.
And so that's why work experience in the medical environment has been sort of prized, and why people have gone on courses to various summer courses, why people ask their GPs, can you give me work experience, and so on. But in a way, this is we're moving away from that.
Oh, really. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is like really, it's hot off the press stuff.
Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you what it is. And we obviously we do the thing about the courses is that you have to pay for them, and actually, I think that we provide like free online face-to-face work experience, but people really struggle. We always say, look, it's not like the work experience, it's about what you learn from it, your personal takeaways and reflections from that work experience rather than what you're doing. But basically, what we found over the years is that people from, less privileged backgrounds, I find it, as you said, the cardiologist, the dad,
really difficult.
You can't get work experience.
Yeah. It's really difficult. So I think, in a way, the life experience is what will shape the way you respond to interviews, and that is really what matters. So if you have if you've just been gaming all your spare time, and you get good grades because you're in the right sort of environment and school and so on. When you talk about try to answer questions in the interviews, they are like your answers might be rather flat or shallow, but if you've actually lived real life, or gap years, I encourage gap years because I find that people who take a year out who have not necessarily had lived experience, a gap year gives them depth. And also it means that they still want to do medicine after a gap year, which takes some resilience.
And actually, the funny thing is that if you think about a career, I mean, a career as long and as illustrious as ours, 1 year doesn't really make that much difference, does it? And yet, like at that point in time, the world is like
people are in a hurry.
And actually, you're saying it actually might allow you to get more out of the experience
of course, and some people use a gap year to earn money, to help them through the course. Of course, some people travel, but if you take a gap year and make a little bit of savings on the side, that may be incredibly useful because it's expensive to do medicine. It's a very intense course. There's not much time to work part-time outside the course. The terms are long. It's 5 years. Money can be a big problem.
Just because this is where I haven't actually got to asking him the questions yet. So Mike, these are only allowed to be 20 minutes, and we've spent way too long talking about your childhood.
And yours.
There is that. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about my childhood, but I'll have to tell you the next time we meet. So you need to get a higher score as possible in the UCAT exam. Personal statements are important. You have to write them, but it's not like the most important thing in the world, and actually it's about your learning and reflections of your personal experiences. Work experience, what sort of work experience are you looking for? People say GP practice. Is it observational or is it doing?
No,
stuff?
I think I would give much more credence to people who can stick with a part-time occupation, looking after other people and seeing people in difficulties, seeing real-life problems, rather than a snapshot experience here and there.
So you're saying more like the volunteering type of stuff.
Absolutely. The snapshot experience is important for you to know
if that's what you want to do.
If that's that's important. But it's not. The snapshot experience is not going to change you, and you will have observations, but it will not convince somebody that's because you sat in a surgery for an afternoon that justifies your justification for becoming a doctor.
And actually, I think when you do your work experience, other than the reflection piece, you need to think, actually, is this really what I want to do?
This is so important. It's so
important. Parents push them.
So that's a really important point. Very often, parents are very pushy. In some families, having a child who's a doctor means that the family has done incredibly well. Whether the child wants to be a doctor or not, whether the child's going to be a good doctor or not. And that's a shame, really. But I understand, it's a cultural thing and it's very difficult to change. So we have to accept that. And in these cultures, of course, it can be that the child who's being pushed to become a doctor becomes a wonderful doctor.
Yes.
It's But we also find, and I've had examples of this in Brunel of students really being pushed by the parents and actually not succeeding because their heart wasn't in it.
After they actually get onto the program.
Yeah.
And it's not just the program, is it? It's like your career. So afterwards,
people have different, ambitions. If your ambition is to be a doctor, chances are you become a good doctor. But if you see your life in a different direction, then being made to become a doctor on the way is often not satisfying and possibly may fail.
Last thing before we have to stop. So you kind of done a bit of work experience, done a bit of a personal statement. You've done okay in your exam. Interviews. What happens at interviews? And then what sort of things are you looking for?
So at Brunel Medical School, we run multiple mini interviews. These are sets of 6 interviews.
Wow.
Each one lasts only 5 minutes. And the candidate has 2 minutes to read a scenario. And the scenario is designed to look at the sort of attributes that we're looking for, attributes which we think will make you a good doctor. So we're looking at teamwork. We look at the ability to think about ethical reasoning. What is ethical and what is not ethical. We look at data interpretation. We look at resilience and adaptability. And 6 different attributes of that nature.
Clinical kind of topics?
No, we try to avoid clinical scenarios.
They are doing science subjects, aren't they?
But we don't test this. We don't test the knowledge in the scenarios at all, because your knowledge is tested in your exam results.
Exactly.
So we don't want to redo that. So we look at your attributes. Communication skills, of course, is important. Your professionalism, whether you have empathy. So these are the sort of attributes, and then for each interview, each of the 6 interviews, a different assessor. So each assessor works independently of all the others. So you have 6 different people looking at you independently of each other, which makes the process reliable. And reliable. And so we add up the scores of all the 6 assessors at the end, and the people get the top scores get offers.
So does somebody not say, oh, hi Tal, I see you've done this and that, and like, why do you want to be a doctor? Does somebody that's a normal interview you'd expect?
Well, we do.
Is that one of the stations? Or?
One of the stations is called Commitment to Healthcare.
Fine.
Okay. So in one of the stations, we explore why you want to be a doctor. But we will not ask you. We will never ask you why do you want to be a doctor. It's more a situational judgment test where you have a scenario and you have to show that your answer is aligned with a commitment to healthcare.
And do you have? Do they have your CV and your application in front of them when you?
No. Everybody is a blank canvas. Okay.
How interesting.
So we judge just on the basis of your performance in the interview.
I think that's incredibly fair, actually.
Well, this is really why good. We're using this method, because currently it's considered the most reliable and fairest way to select students. And but of course, as you can imagine, having 6 assessors
It's stressful.
It's a lot of admin. Also, we need a lot. We need a lot of people. We have to train the assessors to make sure they know what they're doing and they score according to the correct principles and so on.
How does one prepare for one of those sorts of interviews, do you think?
Well, we like to think that you can't prepare for them because we want you to be genuine and fresh. And very often, if you come prepared, your answers sound rote.
Yes,
and that
because we haven't prepared for this, have we?
No, we have not.
Right.
No,
if we had, it'd been awful.
But I will say there are some things you should not do.
Go on.
You should not try to cheat. So some people, for example, may have somebody else in the room who will whisper answers to them.
No way.
Some people will try to type on a computer, ChatGPT.
You're at a station, though.
Yeah. But it's online. It's online.
Oh, this is
all online.
It's face-to-face.
No. It's all online. It's just 6 stations online. And so we are aware.
So old-fashioned.
We look at that. We don't want people to have to travel, too far or spend money traveling.
For the university.
So it's all online, and but we do see sometimes people who try to cheat, and that's a no. So don't do that.
Oh my goodness! No, if you're at home, then yeah,
you may think you'll prepare something, and you have
the thing is that you're doing this 800 times a year. You kind of know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, don't do it, guys. Don't cheat in life, but especially at Brunel Medical School interviews, because they know everything. Thank you. And then finally, if it all goes well, they get an offer.
Yeah, you get an offer
with your name at the bottom of the letter. Is it
so university signs the letter. It's not.
Can you ask if you can sign it?
But I will meet all the students who join us in September, and I will be very pleased to talk to them and
coming in a few months' time.
Yeah, in September, congratulate them on their achievement and support them together with my team once on the course.
And then there your journey begins.
Exactly.
A welcome from Mike.
Exactly.
Who else could anybody else want? Thank you so much, Mike. Honestly,
well, thank you, Tarek. It's a really great pleasure to be here.
And thank you for busting all those little myths, actually. I think there are lots of things that we get asked questions all the time. And I think we just need to just frame it differently. I think from us,
it's things are moving on.
Thank you.
Thank you.